Hey everybody, good afternoon. Today is part 2 of my adventure, I guess you could call it, of how I got out of an abusive marriage. If you missed the first part to where how I actually got out like from the beginning, please go back to my timeline and you'll see part 1, what was the final straw, because I know a lot of women, they will stay in abusive relationships for various reasons, whether they stay for the kids or they stay because they don't have money, or they stay because maybe they don't think they can do any better, maybe they don't have a place to go, or maybe they're convincing themselves and they've been brainwashed into believing that it's their fault, or like the way that they've been treated is their fault, or that oh, I just lost my thought. But so again, go back and watch part 1, the last straw, so you can see how I left my marriage. Like, how did I get out of those doors and get out? Because it was quite a story. God played a huge part in it. I give all credit to him. He made the path out. He answered a prayer. I broke down and cried one night, and he literally just cleared the path and got me out. I'm not going to go back over all that, so just please go back and watch. And if you do watch, I ask that you share, because women out there, they are in these types of situations, and they need to hear that there is hope. They need to hear that they deserve more, that there is more for them, and that God will get them out. Okay, so please go back. And then after that, my next video was called how did I end up in an abusive relationship? Because there's one reason, in my opinion, of why women end up in abusive relationships. So I ask again that you go back, you watch it. If you find value in it, please share it. And again, share it for people that you don't even know that need to hear it, because everybody's fighting battles that we don't know. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors. I hid this for years. People had no clue about how bad it was, and they still don't. Sure, I can tell them what I went through, but nobody will ever know everything. They never will. There's some things I can't share because it's too hard to go back to. I feel too ashamed for not leaving sooner. It's just just things that are too dark for me to even want to talk about. So you never know who's struggling. So please share those. If you go back and watch them, please comment and like on them, because that helps Facebook show them more to more people. My whole point is to circulate these and get them around so that hopefully I can encourage women, I can empower women, I can show them that there's hope. Anything can help. And so just please help out by doing that, help other women. And the same thing with this live as well. I wrote some notes because this part of the story it's not necessarily blurry. It's like the order of events are kind of mixed up in my head now. I remember all these things that happened after I got out of this marriage. I just can't quite remember like exactly the order so much. So I did make some notes, so I might be looking down at my notes once in a while because I don't want to forget anything. And I also did say a prayer because I want God to be able to say what needs to be said. So just so you know, like, I just hope that what I say is going to be worth value to people, and that it can help somebody in some way. So it was really hard for me to write down. I was like, okay, what am I even going to say? Like, I don't know what I'm going to really say. And so I just kind of said a prayer and I made some quick notes. So I hope that I say everything I need to say. So anyways, with that being said, I'm going to take a drink of water. And I'm going to get started. Going back to this part of my life, I don't look back at it hardly anymore. And in fact, it was just a couple days ago, and I made a post about it. I was scrolling through my timeline, just kind of cleaning up my timeline, like deleting things I don't like on there anymore. And the further I scrolled down, it was like, wow, it got closer and closer and closer to the time to where I had just left my husband. And the difference and the changes that I saw from the types of posts that I was making to how I look now, because I've lost a ton of weight, to how you can see it in my face, the peace I have now, the joy I have now, the difference. And literally when I saw that, I broke down crying, and I just thanked God for everything that he's done for me, because it is because of him. I would still be in that relationship. Things would have gotten terrible. Like, I don't know if I would have ended up dead or one of the children would have gotten hurt, but I just thanked him. And like I said, he can do the same for you if you are in a situation like that. And I want you to notice too, as I tell this story, I hope I don't get too emotional again. Like, it's just hard sometimes to talk about it, but I like to look forward and not focus on the past, but I'm doing this for other women. So I hope that you can see God's hand in it as I continue to tell this story. Anyways, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So again, please just don't forget to share my live, and don't forget to comment, like, show me some love. This is hard to do. It's not something I necessarily enjoy doing, but it's something I feel I must do. I can't explain it. I just know I must. Okay? So, anyways, I had gotten out of the house, and I had started moving things into the place that I am in now. Because my husband had stayed in hiding for a couple of days, because he was hiding from the cops, since he did hit me, and the cops ended up getting called and all of that, I was able to get the majority of my things out of the house. Like I said in the last video, if he had been there, like, there's no way he would have ever allowed me to get what I needed. He wouldn't have let me leave or anything like that. So God got me out. He made it, everything happened to where it was set up. Like, he stayed in hiding, so I was able to get the majority of my stuff out. However, after the weekend ended and Monday came around, he quit. He came out of hiding, I guess, and he was just back at home. He didn't end up getting arrested at that time. They just ended up serving him a ticket, sadly. And anyway, so he was back at the house. However, I didn't have everything out. I still had several necessities there. It was really difficult to get everything moved out of my house, because I have a 3-year-old, I have a 1-year-old, and finding a babysitter, finding people to watch them, finding people to help me move things out of the house, trying to get into, it was just a huge headache. It was so stressful. So I wasn't able to get everything out like I had wanted. And he was home on Monday, and I had things to get out still, right? And so I had talked to him a couple times, saying I'd like to come by the house and get some of these things out. And he was always so pleasant and like, sure, you can come by. And then I would come, and I always brought somebody. Like, I never once again was around him, like, by myself. I didn't trust it. And so, I would try to go get my things, and then the next thing, and I would show up with people, and I'd show up with everything, like my church helped out a lot. And he would raise a big scene and told me I couldn't do it, like, to come back later, yada, yada, yada. And at this time, he was also working for a company, so he was gone a lot, like, he was out working on a rig. And so he would be gone sometimes for, like, a whole day at a time. He would be gone for a long time. So that allowed me to try to figure out, like, I had like, informants, I don't know, hopefully, I had people telling me, like, when, like, some of his friends, like, were helping me, working for me in a way, and they would tell me, like, when he was at work and the house was empty, so that way I could go by and get, my things. And even, like, sometimes he would say, yes, you can go to the house, I'm just not going to be there. And, he told me he would leave, like, he had changed all the locks on the house. So I couldn't just use my house key, right? I had to rely on him to either keep the house unlocked, or I had, that was it. Or just for him to give me the key, and he was going to give me the key. So he would tell me things like, yes, you can go to the house. I won't be in the house. You can go. And then I would show up again with people, with boxes, with a trailer, and then the house would be completely locked down. So it was just a big headache. And we had a big wooden fence, and I could laugh about it now because it was always like when you have God on your side, like nothing can stop you. Like I always found a way. But he would have like our wooden fence, like he would have it deadbolted. The garage doors, he changed the locks on those. Like he made my life like as difficult as it could be, like in order to get my things out. However, I always found a way. Like it didn't matter. I did what I could when he was gone, and I found a way again because God, like, just he helped me with that. It was a struggle, but it was worth it. So it took me probably a couple of weeks to get all of my things completely out of the house. And thankfully, now I know a lot of women, they might not have a place to go. Thankfully, I was not in that situation. My parents actually have a rental house. This is the house that I'm in right now. And they had been renting it out to somebody, and he ended up leaving the house. And my parents, like, they knew things were getting really bad. I don't think they realized how bad, but they knew. And my dad kept this house open. He kept it open for a very long, like for several months. I don't know how long, but he kept it open for me in case I ever needed to get out and come live here. And I'm so thankful he did that because this is where I'm at now. I didn't have to go to a shelter. I didn't have to go live with family and friends. I didn't have to, worry about walking the streets. And also that I said in my first video that I didn't have any money, because I had quit teaching. I was relying on him. Yes, so I had a little bit, right? I was making money online. I was just kind of working part-time in between my chaotic and, life. Like it was just really hard to get any work done, but I was managing. I was making a little bit of income, but I didn't have money to like completely start over. I didn't have money to buy new furniture, to buy dishes, or anything like that. So that's why I'm so thankful to God that he kept Nick away and he helped me get all my stuff out of the house, because I didn't have to purchase anything. I was able to get all of my necessities, everything I needed out. And thank God for that. Because I had no money. So I got my stuff moved into this house that was left vacant for me in case I needed it. And yes, I needed it. Okay, so moving on. After I had moved into this house, I still could not let go. I still had this idea in my head that everything could be okay if he just went to rehab. He sought counseling. We did marriage counseling, all this stuff. Like my whole goal was to get him to rehab because I still did not want to break up the family. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want my kids to grow up without a father. I just didn't want to do it. And so we still, I was out of the house, and, I had planned on staying, away from him until, he got his act together, right? Until he went to rehab or something could show me that he was been clean for a long time, until he had undergone counseling. We had done marriage counseling, all this stuff. I had these stipulations in place before I would even have considered to actually be back with him. But I was still working, trying to work on things with him, work it out. So we had seen each other. We were meeting up. Of course, he wanted me back and things would be better and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, there's no way I'm going to move back in with you. He wanted to move back in with me. Or he even said that he would sell the house and he would move in here with me. It's no way that's going to happen. No, not until I know for sure that you changed completely and all this. So to show, he told me he had changed. He told me things were going to get better. And my phone's been doing these notifications lately. So if you keep hearing it, I'm sorry. I apologize. My phone's been weird ever since I synced my smartwatch. And it's been doing these weird notifications. I can't make it stop. Um, okay, so let's see. So some of the things that would happen. So I'm sorry, like I said, I'm trying to get my thoughts straight of how everything, there's just so much. It just wasn't over, and there was still so many things that happened. To show that he had not changed, like to prove that he hadn't changed, even though he told me he would, like one thing that had happened was we had met up to see the kid. He wanted to see the kids, and we were just going to spend time together. Like, again, I wasn't going to go necessarily in alone with him. So, like, we would meet up to eat, and, like, whenever I was there, it was just a completely miserable situation because I didn't trust him, and I ended up doing things like checking his phone, and when I did, I noticed he was still texting that girl that I had mentioned in the first video and still flirting around with him, even though he swore he hadn't done it anymore, you know. And when I confronted him about it, he was always lie, oh, blah, 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 blah. Whatever lies always just spewed out of his mouth. It was 99.9% a lie. So things weren't going so well because of that type of thing. And just every time we were together, it was miserable because I was living this life of being a detective. I was constantly fact-checking everything he told me. And this is not the type of person or woman that I am. It's the type of person that I turned into as a result of being in this marriage for so long to somebody that I just couldn't trust, and show me over and over that I couldn't trust him. Every time I checked his phone, I saw that he was messaging that girl. There's always some type of evidence proving to me that I couldn't trust him. And I was very, very unhappy because I was under this constant anxiety, this constant stress of, am I going to finally be able to trust him? He says he wants to work it out. He says he's going to change. He says it's going to get better. My phone's going to annoy me by that beeping. I don't know why it's doing that so much right now. And time and time again, it was proven to me that no, you cannot trust this man. But yet, I still wouldn't let go. I was miserable. So much anxiety over wondering where he was really at. Is he telling me the truth? Like, is he really at work? Like, because we would set up times for him just to come see me or us to spend time together as a family. It was miserable, ladies. Like, you don't ever want to be in that situation. Like, you deserve more than that. You deserve more than that type of life of having somebody that you don't trust and always having to fact check them and just, yeah. Anyway, so I remember I was under so much stress about it. And I called my sister one morning. It was a Saturday morning. My husband, he told me that we were supposed to see each other or something. I don't know. And he told me he couldn't. He was at work or something was going on, to where I drove by the house to see if he was telling me the truth. And I was living 30 miles away from him now at this time. And I drove 30 miles. I woke up and I drove 30 miles to see, is he telling me the truth? And I remember driving by the house, and I just broke down crying because I was like, I'm so unhappy. I'm trying to jump through all these hoops. I'm trying to do all these things to get this marriage to work, to get him to rehab, to get to counseling, and I was just miserable because I couldn't never trust him with anything. And so I called my sister, and I remember this, and I just started sobbing and bawling to her. I'm like, I don't know if I can keep living this way. I'm like, do I let this man go officially and let him continue to destroy his life? Because literally he destroyed it all. Or do I hold on, try to work things out, see, get him to rehab, go to counseling, try to save our family? I'm like, I feel like I just can't live like this anymore. I'm miserable. I'm always on edge. I'm always stressed out, always having this anxiety about what he's doing, what he's telling me, if it's the truth, where he's really at. And she just listened. She's always my sister. She's always been such a wonderful listener. And she's like, she's like, it's possible. Maybe he could go to rehab and things could work out and you could save your family. But she's like, it just sounds like, though, that that you need to let go. But it's hard. It's hard to let go. And I said, I don't know if I can. I just wanted a happy and complete family, So, another way God had worked in one of the many ways God was there. He was so patient with me. It was like he kept showing me these things over and over, and I didn't want to accept it. And so we had that conversation about, do I let go? Do I let go? I don't know what to do. So I drove home, and when I got there, at the time, I wasn't officially moved into this house. I was still with my parents because I was, I had all this stuff not packed out or, unpacked or anything like that. And so I was just staying with my parents for a little bit until I got this house, all furnished and everything unpacked. And I pulled up to my parents' house, and there was a lady sitting at the porch. On the porch, and I knew her. I recognized her. I'm like, what is she doing here? Because at that time, this lady, I knew her from church. And I was like, she should be in church. Why is she here at my parents' when my parents are in church? Why? What is going on? It was just really weird, because why would she be at my parents' house when my parents were in church? And then I didn't really know this lady. I had seen her in church a couple times, but we had never really talked or anything. And so I got out of the car. She's like, I'm looking for somebody. I have a bunch of stuff in this storage shed, and I heard that somebody moved out, and they're might be needing things. And she's like, I'm looking for somebody. She couldn't remember the name or anything like that. And I said, well, you must be looking for my sister, my younger sister. I'm like, because my sister had gone to church a lot longer than I had. They had talked to each other, they knew each other. So I figured she was there, looking for my sister. I'm like, yeah, but you're at the wrong house. She's over, I told her where she lived. And she's like, well, okay. She's like, yeah, but I have all this stuff in this storage shed, and I heard that somebody moved out and they might need all this stuff. I was like, oh. I'm like, well, then you must be talking about me, because I just moved out of my husband's house, and so I guess that you're looking for me. And this was just all really weird to me. And she was like, yeah, I really gotta, I didn't plan on talking to her long, because I didn't even know her. And I was like, okay, she has stuff, but I really didn't need anything, because I had gotten just about everything out of the house at this time. It was just really weird. I was like, why is she here? It's just, and she's like, oh, I really gotta pee. Can I come in? I'm like, okay. Yeah, come in. Come use the bathroom. So I went to my parents' kitchen, and she went to use the bathroom. And she came back out, and she just sat down. And I was just again, awkward, uncomfortable. I'm like, what's going on here? And she sat down. She looked at me. She's like, I remember you. I was like, yeah? She's like, yeah. She's like, and keep in mind, we had not talked before. She just showed up, talked about having stuff in the shed, because she heard from my parents that I had left my husband. I might be needing things. That's it. So she said, I remember you. I said, oh, yeah? She's like, yeah. She's like, I was in church one day, and you had walked in. You were a little frazzled, and you had your kids, and you sat down in a pew. And then a little bit later, she's like, your husband walked in to church, because he had gone to meet with me to church maybe a couple times. It's like, yeah, your husband walked in. I remember turning around, because you were sitting in a pew behind me, and I remember him sitting down. And she said, when he sat down, I saw you wrap your arms around him like, and she said, right then, when I saw you wrap your arms around him, she said, I knew exactly what was going on in your life. And I didn't speak. I was just listening to her. She just started talking. She said, I know because I've been there before. She said, you wrapped your arms around that man like you were losing him. And you would just do anything that you could to hold on. It's like, I know how that feels. So when you're sitting there in a grocery store and you're in line and you're thinking, what has happened to my life? How did I get to this point? Why am I allowing myself to be scared? Why? She just started talking and saying all of this stuff like she read my mind. Saying how she knew exactly what it was like because she'd been there. And then she started talking about relationships that she had been in that were toxic and that were abusive. This lady is saying this when I had never talked to her about this before. She had no background information, nothing on my husband and I, nothing to even hint to her that we were having problems with the stuff that we were going through. Nothing, but she knew. And I wish I could remember everything she told me. But I swear to you, she was God's messenger to me. Because that morning, like I said, I was still crying and deciding whether or not I could officially let go of this marriage or should I stay and try to work it out. And everything that she started talking about, she just started talking. Not knowing anything. As she said everything, she, I guess, validated everything that had been on my mind. I had been blaming myself for his behavior. I had been blaming myself for his anger problems, for me getting abused, for just everything. I was making excuses for him. I was saying, oh, it's just the drugs, he just needs counseling, da-da-da, like. And then again, I didn't know if I could let go. And the stuff that she said things to me like, she's like, I know that you blame yourself, but she's like, don't you ever blame yourself. She's like, don't you ever blame yourself. And she's like, and don't you make excuses for that man. She's like, he might be on drugs, but that doesn't mean anything. She's like, whatever he's doing to you now is what he's already had within him. She's like, the drugs just brought it out. She's like, stop making excuses for him. Don't feel sorry for him. And don't you ever blame yourself for his behavior. She's like, what you need to do is you need to completely let go of this man. And you need to go live your life and be happy. And one day he's going to look back and it's just going to be a kick in the butt. And he's going to realize what he lost. And you're just going to be free. She's like, I mean, just everything. She just kept going. Everything that was in my mind, I swear to you, God sent her to me to tell me to let him go, to not blame myself anymore, to not make excuses for him. And I knew it. I was listening to her. I was soaking in everything she said. And I was like, my God, God is speaking to me through her. And she doesn't even know it. And so after that conversation, I left there and I felt a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. And I knew what my answer was. When I had been crying to my sister, I had been crying to her, what should I do? Should I let go or stay? And I knew right then and there I was supposed to let go. I knew it 100% without a doubt. And I ran to my sister and I told her what had happened. And she's like, oh my goodness, Sarah. She's like, there it is. Like, you know what you need to do. And so I felt good that day. I felt so much better. But stupid old me, stupid humans, you just can't always accept things the way that they are, and you can't just do what you know you need to do. And I felt that day, I felt a relief, and I was going to let go, but then a couple days later, I was back at it, like, still trying to connect with him, still trying to contact him, and he was messaging me, still trying to work things out. I still was like, maybe, and I started to doubt everything that had happened the day before, just stupid. So, anyways, we had met up a couple times. Things were always bad. He ended up breaking things in my car, tearing the door handle off of my car, and breaking his plans with to see the kids so he could go hang out with that girl and go do his drugs. It was miserable existence, and just a lot of things happened, and I'm not giving all the details, but so one day, again, I just kept thinking, do I need to let go? Do I need to let go? Is there any hope? I was doubting everything that had happened, and what I knew for sure that day that lady came to talk to me, that I should have let go. I was just doubting it. And I kept praying about it. And every time I prayed, God would show me something. Like, I kept praying to God, I'm like, show me his true character. Well, the next day I would see him, and I would find a text on his phone from that girl. Show me, God, I can't trust him. Well, the next day I'd see him and something would happen. God kept showing me over and over and over, and I wouldn't accept it. How stupid am I? It's hard to let go of what you wanted so badly. It's hard to break up a family. It's hard to admit that what you had was over. And not that I had anything good. I never did have anything good. I had something good in my mind, and I made him out. In my mind, he could be some completely different man that he never could be. That's what I was holding on to. I was holding on to some fake, fictional dream man that could never, ever be. And I couldn't let that go. So, something had happened. It was Father's Day. And I met up with him to see let him see the kids for Father's Day. I took him out to eat for dinner. That night we were just hanging out a little bit. He ended up getting a text message, and it was clear that it was from a girl because the way that she spoke, it was like, hey, how's it going? How was your day? Smiley face. Like, men don't talk like that. Come on. And I asked him who it was because the name wasn't on there. It was just a number. And he's like, oh, I don't know. It must be. And he started blah, 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 lying. And I looked at, after I left, or I ended up looking up that phone number, and I found it. And it belonged to that girl that he's been texting the whole time. And he told me he was done talking to her. But again, here I am. God's showing me proof. You can't trust him. He's lying. He's going to continue to lie to you. And, so ended up getting in a fight. I left, and that day, though, before that had happened, see, I have this subwoofer in my car. This sub was given to me by him as a gift. He told me this whole time. I put this stereo in for you. A new stereo, new sub, all that. Because he knows I love music. I love to bump that. I love to dance. So he put this in my car as a gift. And that day, on Father's Day, that's what he claimed. However, he was the one who always had the car. He had the car all the time. So I even told him, like, this is not for me. This is clearly for you, because I don't even ever get to drive this car anymore because you lost your work truck because he got fired from his job. All types of stuff. Oh, gosh. And he said, no, this is for you. It's for you. I want you to have it. It's a gift. It's a gift. Get it. Okay. So that day on Father's Day, before I had seen that text message from that girl, he ended up taking the sub out of my car. He said that, oh, it's not hitting. I'm going to have it hooked up, have it checked, right? I was like, okay. So that night, I see the text messages, get in a fight. I leave, I go home. And I had her number, and I called that number 2 times, and no answer. And then I got a text from that number, and she was like, hey, who is this? Like, why are you calling? I said, and I sent a long text message. I said, this is his wife. He's really lost right now. He doesn't know what he's doing. He needs to get help. You need to back off. Don't ever text him again. Don't ever see him again to hang out with him. I'm like, you are interfering with a husband and with a father. Like, I just straight up told her, you back off. Like, He's trying to get his life together. Like, he tells me he wants to change his life and all this, but I said I'm like, he's lost. Like, leave him alone so he can get his thoughts straight and work things out with his family. And then I told my husband, I'm like, I told her to leave you alone, and he got really, really mad at me. Like, I called him and told him that, and he got so mad at me. I'm like, why did you do that? And like, just, I was like, well, somebody had to do it, so I did it. So the next day, I went to his house to, I don't remember why I was there. I don't know. I might have just been checking up on him because I was constantly doing that type of thing. I went into the house and he was passed out on his bed and his phone was right there. And I got his phone, as I always had been. I was always looking on that stupid phone. And I was reading through his text messages, and in one text message I saw that, number one, he lied about my sub, so that way he could get it out of my car and keep it for himself, because I saw a text to his friend saying that he was going to get it from me. And number two, I saw a text to that girl, and this was, the text said, sorry, crazy bitch got onto my phone and saw that you texted, and so she was messaging you. Like, so this was after I had texted that girl and told her to back off, and my husband texted her afterwards and was apologizing for me doing that and called me a crazy bitch to her, to his mistress. I saw that text message and oh my goodness, again, just crushed. Him calling me crazy bitch to his mistress for me just working and doing everything I could to save our freaking family. I was done. I mean, so I had thought, right? I mean, because I told myself I was done so many times, but I kept going back. So, oh, and there in the house, remember, he's sleeping. There in the house was my sub. It was hooked up. He had been listening to it. So you know what I did? I took that back. I put it in my car, and I left. I drove off. I put his phone back on the bed where it was beside him, and I was gone. And 10 minutes later, he calls me, screaming at the top of his lungs, freaking irate, lunatic, saying, why did you bust into my house? Cuss word, calling me name after name after name. I'm going to call the cops on you for breaking and entering. And he just took my sub. Like, he was so mad that I took that sub. That was supposed to be my gift this whole time. Freaking irate. And I was just sitting there thinking to myself as I was listening to him talk to me this way. He had talked to me that way so many times. And I allowed it. And I was just like, I'm so sick. I was listening to that. I'm like, I am just sick of this. I cannot listen to this anymore. I hung up on him and I just blocked his number. I was like, this is it. I have to be done with this man. I don't ever want to be talked to this way again. I don't want to be lied to again. I'm tired of everything. Like, I just can't do it. I cannot be with this man anymore. So to help me, I continued to pray about it. I said, God, just please show me that this is the right thing. Please, please, please. I kept begging and pleading, even though he had shown me enough, and I would not accept it. I wouldn't accept it. So that night, I ended up messaging him I don't think she knows this, but I've talked to her several times, and I don't know if she knows this is another answered prayer. I messaged his ex-wife because I had heard about some things that had happened between him and her. You know, he had told me this when we were together. Like, I was, because, you know, you want to know kind of in a way, like, what happened in the past. Like, why did your first marriage not work out? Because you're trying to, like, get dirt. You're trying to figure out, like, what really happened between, or what is this person really like? And he had told me some things that had happened, and he just made it look out like she was just such a bad, you know, it was her fault. She was the bad guy. It was, you know, that's why their marriage failed and all this. And so I messaged her, and I said, you know, I just started talking to her, and we had a nice conversation, and I found out that basically what he said is just like, I actually like this girl. Like, you know, in my mind, I didn't like her before because of the things that he told me, but we had a good conversation, and I had found out from her, from that conversation, that she left because he was being abusive to her. And he was on another type of drug at that time. That right there, finally, I was just like, whoosh. I felt all the tension, all of the stress, all of the anxiety, all of the worrying and the wondering. It just left my body officially. Because the fact that this is a pattern for him, it just showed me this is a pattern. This happened in the past. It happened with me. Even if we get back together and try to work things out, it's going to happen again. It's a cycle. It's never going to get better. And that finally was the closing proof I needed to let go. And I did. For the first time after everything God had shown me and everything I had prayed about, I let go. And I told myself, I'm not checking his phone. And see, I've been checking his Facebook too. I've been checking his messages on Messenger because I had his password and everything to get into that. I'm like, I'm not checking his Messenger. I'm not going to stalk his Facebook. I'm not going to stalk that other girl's Facebook. I'm never going to call him again. Everything I said, I am done with this man. And I was. And I quit that day, that night. I never once again did it. That was finally how I was able to officially let go. After everything, it's shocking that it took me so long. But like I said, women, we get this dream in our heads. We get these ideas that are false, and we want to hang on to them. And we want to believe that these men can change, but they are never going to change unless God intervenes in their life, and then they're officially like a 100% converted human being. Like he has changed their heart. That's the only way these type of people will ever change. Ever. And you'll have undeniable proof of that because, well, I mean, you'll see evidence in their life. So, ladies, my message to you is today, I know it's hard to let go, but listen to me. You deserve better. You deserve a life where you are not always stressed and anxious, on edge, wondering about your significant other. You deserve either a peace, like being single and happy and free, or, I'm sorry to hear that. I see. Okay, I don't have my glasses on. Well, Alicia, I hope that you do what's right. And I know you know what's right. It's hard, but you can do it. I don't know. I don't feel like I've always been strong. It's been a journey. That's all I can say is it's been a journey. I wish I could say I had left a long time ago, and I am ashamed that I didn't, but, you know. But you deserve better, ladies. You deserve better. You deserve peace, being single and free, and doing what you want, when you want to do it. I couldn't do that in my marriage. I was a prisoner. I couldn't just go be with friends. I couldn't just do anything with him and enjoy our time together. Like, it was always a fight. Like, I couldn't do CrossFit. Like, I was trying to get into CrossFit at this time, and he didn't let me do CrossFit. Like, I say he didn't let me, like, he would eventually let me after a huge fight because I fought for it. But, like, he ruined everything for me because by the time we were done fighting, I was exhausted. I was sad. I was crying. I was just like, I don't even want to do this anymore. I don't want to go have dinner with my sister. I don't want to go to CrossFit. Like, I'm exhausted. Like, I was a prisoner. So you deserve to be free and happy and single. Or you deserve a partner that you have 100% complete trust in. Don't ever, if you start dating somebody and you are getting, okay, so there's a difference between being insecure in who you are and just paranoid that they're going to be cheating. And then there's a difference in knowing and seeing signs and being shown it and then being worried about it, right? if anything ever happens to where if you're with somebody and they break your trust, they can't be trusted. A liar is a liar is a liar. They're going to continue to lie. They're going to continue to cheat. They're going to continue to abuse you. They're going to continue to call you names. Whatever it is that they're doing, they're not going to change is what I'm trying to tell you. And so you deserve to be with somebody that never makes you doubt them, that doesn't give you anxiety and make you feel like you can't trust them. Again, because remember, maybe you have facts or you have suspicions, but don't care. That could be a whole other video. It's like, don't carry on like the toxicity from the past into your new relationships. You got to let that go. I hope you can tell the difference. You deserve more, okay? You deserve so much more. That's what I'm trying to say. And those of you that might be in toxic relationships or abusive, mentally, whatever it may be, and you don't know whether to leave, maybe you don't have somewhere to go, maybe you don't have any money, maybe you just feel like you're not worth it. Whatever it is, those are all excuses, and I know they're hard to get past, but your peace, your safety, your happiness, your children's safety, if you got those, is worth so much more than staying trapped, staying prisoner, being abused and unsafe and miserable. It is worth so much more. It is hard to let go. I know. Trust me, I know. But once you let go and you start that process, it's baby steps and it's hard. And you might still continue to be going through hell in order to find that peace and to a place where you feel happy. But it's possible. God got me through and He will for you. No doubts. I am finally at a place now where I just can't believe the stuff I've been through. And sometimes I forget that I even came from that. I do. I forget that was my life for 6 years. But it's not anymore. And I forget because now I am so freaking happy. And I kid you not. I have cried ever since I noticed all the progress I made a couple of days ago. I have been crying about that every day. Freaking tears of joy. It's such relief. It is. And it is so worth it. Everything I went through and where I am now, it was worth it to go through that pain, and it was worth it to struggle through it. Because I have never had so much peace in my life. I have never been happier. And you guys deserve the same. Trust me when I tell you, you deserve the same. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. You keep walking one step at a time, baby steps, whatever you need to do. But one day you will look back and you will be shocked from where you came from to where you are now. And I think it was a good reminder for me the other day to realize that, because sometimes I feel like I'm still like, I'm not where I want to be. Like, I'm not where I want to be yet. You know? I know the potential within me. Like, this isn't that, like, there's nothing wrong with this house, but, like, it's not the house I want to be in. It's not the life I want to have, like, you know? But when I look back and I see how far God has taken me in such a short amount of time, it's been probably it's been, like, let's see, June, July, August, like 7 months. But my PTSD is gone. I don't have post-traumatic stress disorder anymore. I have peace now. I don't have to worry about coming into my house and wondering if my husband took some of my clothing or my makeup or my hairdryer so I couldn't live my life in a nice, you know, peaceful way. I don't have to worry about anything getting broken or stolen or sold. I don't have to worry about, am I going to get money to pay bills today? Because I'm here, I'm making my own money now. I was before when I was with him, like, because I was teaching, but I quit teaching to be a stay-at-home mom. Now I'm here, I'm on my own, I'm making my way. peace. Let me tell you. It's just, I can't even express the joy I felt. And ever since a couple of days ago it was just like a revelation to me how far I have come, because I just get down sometimes. I'm like, I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where, like, I deserve better. I can have a better life. But when I look back to see how far I've come in such a short amount of time, and you can do that too. You just got to keep going one step at a time. One step at a time. And I'm telling you, pray, pray, pray like there's no tomorrow. God will get you through. He has just lifted so much burden. He has just done it for me. Anyways, so the same thing. If you are in a spot to where you can't leave, maybe because you don't have a place to go, but just pray about it. Even if you do have to go to a shelter for a while, even if you do have to go crash at your parents' or families or something, it's worth it. It is worth it to get out. That hardship that you're going to experience when you leave, it's going to be worth it. By the time you're done and you're starting over and you're transitioning, just trust me, get out. Okay, I think I'm done. I've talked long enough. Thank you so much. Again, I ask, hopefully, if you stay tuned long enough, that you share, comment, like. That way people can see and hear what they need to hear. I'm not doing this for me. I don't like doing these videos and talking about this. I honestly don't. I do it for other women who need to hear it. Because that's my mission. Like, I'm supposed to do it now. So I'm doing it. Anyways, you guys have a beautiful day.